Amazing and macabre places on Earth.
Visit if you dare at your own peril. North Yungas Road, Bolivia.
The path from La Paz to Coroico, Bolivia, is a treacherous one. The North Yungas Road weaves precariously through the Amazon rainforest at a height of more than 15,000 feet. At that frightening elevation, the 12-foot wide single lane, lack of guardrails, and limited visibility due to rain and fog, has given this 50-mile stretch of highway the nickname, the Death Road. There was a time when North Yungas Road used to see some 200 to 300 annual deaths. It has now become more of a destination for adventurous mountain bikers than a vehicular thoroughfare.
Nagoro, Japan.
Nagoro is a tiny Japanese village with one very notable feature: a life-sized doll population that outnumbers the human population nearly 10 to 1. The toy residents are the work of local Tsukimi Ayano, who began making doll replicas of her neighbors after they died or moved away. The eerie doppelgangers can be seen in various positions across the town: fishermen sitting on the riverbank, students filling entire classrooms, elderly couples resting on benches outside of buildings. There are now around 350 dolls and 27 breathing humans in Nagoro. The youngest is over the age of 50, making it a quirky and somewhat terrifying toyland.
Hill of Crosses, Lithuania.
People have been placing crosses on this hill in northern Lithuania since the 14th century. Throughout the medieval period, the crosses originally expressed a desire for Lithuanian independence. Then, after a peasant uprising in 1831, people began adding to the site in remembrance of dead rebels. The hill became a place of defiance once again during Soviet occupation from 1944 to 1991. The hill and crosses were bulldozed by the Soviets 3 times, but locals kept rebuilding it. There are now more than 100,000 crosses crowded there, clashing together in the breeze like eerie wind chimes. Over the generations, not only crosses and crucifixes, but statues of the Virgin Mary, carvings of Lithuanian patriots and thousands of tiny effigies and rosaries have been brought here by Catholic pilgrims. The exact number of crosses is unknown, but estimates put it at about 55,000 in 1990 and 100,000 in 2006. It is a major site of Catholic pilgrimage in Lithuania.
Island of the Dolls, Mexico.
Despite its history and status as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, Xochimilco is primarily known for its Isla de las Muñecas, or Island of the Dolls. Hidden among the borough's many canals, the tiny island is famous for the hundreds of dolls, and doll parts, hanging from trees and scattered among the grass. Although it looks more like a horror movie set than anything else, the Chinampa, akin to an artificial island, used to be the actual residence of a now-deceased man named Julian Santa Barrera. After finding a dead girl's body in a nearby canal, Barrera collected and displayed the toys in the hopes of warding off evil spirits. Daring souls can hire their own boat, try to convince the driver to pay the island a visit, and view the dolls safely from the water. The island is a popular destination for dark tourism. The Island of the Dolls is accessible to the public by gondola-like boats referred to as trajineras. Most rowers are willing to transport people to the island, but there are those who refuse out of superstition. In 2001, Barrera's nephew came to the island to help his uncle. As they fished in the canal, Barrera, then 80, sang passionately, claiming that mermaids in the water were calling for him. The nephew left briefly, and upon his return found Barrera lifeless, face down in the canal, in the same spot where the girl was said to have drowned. Since the island became open to the public, there have been reports of the dolls moving their heads, arms, and opening their eyes. Visitors also claim to have heard the dolls whispering to each other. Visitors occasionally place offerings around the dolls in exchange for miracles and blessings. Some change the dolls' clothes and maintain the island as a form of worship.
Bieletshaustetten Hospital, Germany.
If this old German hospital looks disturbing, well, it is. Between 1898 and 1930, the Bieletz-Heilstatten complex, a 50-minute drive south of Berlin, served as a tuberculosis sanatorium. It also housed mustard gas and machine gun victims during World War I, including a young soldier named Adolf Hitler, who had been wounded in the leg. The hospital later went on to be a major treatment center for Nazi soldiers during World War II, and it was used as a Soviet military hospital from 1945 until the fall of the Berlin Wall. Today, a few hospital wards are used as neurological rehabilitation centers, although the majority of the complex is abandoned. The surgery and psychiatric wards have both been left to decay and give way to nature and vandals, giving the area the feel of a ghost town. Not exactly an enjoyable day trip for the easily spooked.
Gomantong Caves, Malaysia.
The Gomantong Caves in Malaysia are pure geographical wonders, with limestone walls reaching up to 300 feet in some spots. But visitors often leave the site describing it as one of the most disgusting wildlife experiences they've ever had. Gomantong is home to more than 2 million bats, which leads to impossibly thick layers of guano, otherwise known as bat poop, covering the ground. And don't even think about slipping, because the handrails are just as filthy as the floor. If you can make it through the river of bat droppings, you'll then encounter several million Malaysian cockroaches scurrying around. Wherever the guano is, that's where the cockroaches will be. Everywhere. Finally, if you get past the bat smells and cockroaches crawling up your legs, there are several other wonderful creatures you just might happen upon, including snakes, scorpions, freshwater crabs, and the infamous giant Scutigera centipedes, poisonous critters that are at least 3 inches long.
Christ of the Abyss, Italy.
Although there are several versions of the same Jesus statue scattered around the ocean floor, including Key Largo, the original version is located in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of San Frutuoso, Italy. The 8-foot-tall likeness was commissioned by Italian diver Duilio Marconte in 1954. He wanted to place some sort of memorial at the exact spot where his friend Dario Gonzatti died while diving a few years prior. And thus, Christ of the Abyss was born. The result is vaguely spooky, especially with the deity's outreached arms and upward gaze. The algae and corrosion only add to the effect, although the statue was removed from its watery home in 2003 for some much-needed restoration. Regardless of whether you find the monument eerie or beautiful, it's certainly worth taking a 55-foot dive down to snap an underwater selfie with Jesus.